Okay, can everyone see my my screen for the OneNote with Marin issue? Yep, okay, great. So, moving forward, questions 1 through 3 are not applicable to the Marin dispute. Both acknowledged that the organizational meeting called was valid. The dispute arises, so we'll jump down to question 4. As you read in the packet, there was a bit of a kerfuffle during the meeting and back and forth, and the chair, the outgoing chair, Mr. Wilkinson, who was leading the meeting, adjourned the meeting due to extreme disruption. So the question we have is that permissible? And under Robert's Rules of Order, revised 4th edition, in the case of fire, riot, or very serious disorder or other great emergency, the chair has the right and the duty to declare the assembly adjourned to some other time and place if necessary, if it is impracticable to take a vote, or in his opinion, dangerous to delay for a vote. Mr. Wilkinson and several other statements in his documentation present violations of Marin County Republican Party bylaws, Article 4, Section 3, subsection C, the Code of Conduct, to justify his adjournment. With that, it appears that he does have the ability to adjourn the meeting under those circumstances, if, in his opinion, it was dangerous to delay for a vote. Following through the line, so if yes, did the outgoing or temporary chair reconvene the meeting? No subsequent meeting was called by Mr. Wilkinson since that organizational meeting on January 30th. So moving on down, since the meeting was not reconvened, does Mr. Wilkinson retain the rights of chairman? Under Article 4, Section 3, subsection A of the bylaws, the officers shall be elected by a majority vote of members present at the organizational meeting and immediately begin serving a 2-year term or until their successors are elected. Based on that, I believe he had the ability to do so based on the disruptions in the meeting, and will subsequently ask for that motion. Are there any questions of clarity or points of order from the committee? Okay, hearing none, let's go ahead and hear from Mr. Wilkinson.
Should be on now. You just need to unmute, Mr. Wilkinson.
Drew, can you stop sharing for a second so we can...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that I was blocked. Okay. Let me get to where your question is. You already said what happened, and I adjourned the meeting because it just appeared too dangerous to me. It was a mob, and I can't deal with a mob. I'm just not dealing with mobs anymore. I adjourned the meeting and left. I was going to just leave the whole thing fall apart, but I just don't like the fact that this thing happened the way it did. Apparently, according to people that had stayed there, the 4 people that ran for office were acclaimed in. There was no swearing in. It violated the rules of our bylaws that were in effect at the time. The meeting was my meeting of the Central Committee as an organizational meeting, and immediately upon the swearing in and election of the new members, new executive committee, they would have been in charge. But we never got to that point because of the riot that took place, and I left. I have not thought about reconvening a meeting, an organizational meeting, until this matter was settled here. And I find it very disconcerting that there would even be a consideration of these particular people, because all of them have been removed from the committee for harassment in the previous two-year term. They had been removed for violence, for harassment by our bylaws. I don't know that I'm going to argue whether they should be in charge or not, but certainly it concerns me that they created a riot that I felt frankly for my safety. I left the room. I don't know what steps you people want to take, because I put it all in your hands by writing the letter I did to you.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate you being here. With that, we'll go ahead and let's hear from Mr. Turnacliff.
Okay, you just need to unmute.
There we go. Okay, so do I just start?
Yes, your 3 minutes can start now.
Okay, so hopefully you all saw the video, because that was what started the problem, is because in prior years, there had been things that had not shown up in the minutes. They were disputed. And so the new committee had decided that they wanted to have everything on video so there was no dispute. And when the prior chair started the meeting, he went through the traditional opening pieces with the pledge, and then said that there would be no videoing. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back one. He had somebody up at the front table. The other 3 people from the prior executive committee had resigned. So somebody else was up at the front table with him that was not a member. It was an alternate of the prior committee. And she was asked to leave the front table in the first few minutes. And then the chair, Wilkinson, said there'd be no videotaping. And we said there would be videotaping. And at that point, he picked up his bag and walked out. And you'll see that on the video in the first 3 minutes. And I hope you watched it, because that's the reason we had the video, is in case there was any dispute. And that was the essence of the problem. The rest of the meeting went very smoothly, as you'll see in the video. There's a 45-minute video that showed everything, and the reason it was done is for exactly the reason of the after-the-fact conflicts that have been occurring over the last couple of years. There was no, you can see in there was no such thing as a riot, there was no danger, there was no approaching of anybody, there was nothing. So I would urge the committee, if you haven't seen it, to please watch it at least the first 5 minutes, and that will show you. And you can scan through the rest, because it's just a regular peaceful meeting after that. But the problem that our concern is, if the new committee is not recognized, it's going to disenfranchise over 20,000 registered Republicans in the county who elected, because we had a lot of people, we had 16 on the ballot, that were elected and chose the new officers. And in fact, they had even started talking about the transition before that night of the meeting. You saw the emails in there that were saying, assuming, the election goes tonight the way it is or something like that, we'll start transferring the bank accounts and everything else the next day, which they did. So by Saturday, we had the credentials to go to the bank. Friday, we had other things transferred that are in the big package. And the 410 was filed on February 1st, confirming the results of the election. And, excuse me.
Time.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Turnacliff. Coming back in, so again, as I went through with the process, there's a lot of extraneous information that we have, and understand, just like in all realms, there's folks that don't like working together. But based on proper procedure, I don't see the legitimacy of, I see the acting chair was able to adjourn the meeting due to several statements of harassment and even violence. So that is allowed under Robert's Rules of Order. It will be on, in my opinion, it would be on Mr. Wilkinson to reconvene a organizational meeting, because that still does need to take place. But as we went through under the bylaws and Robert's Rules of Order, he still retains the office of chairman. And I would ask for a motion to certify Mr. Wilkinson as the Marin County chair
Drew,
for purposes of CRP delegate appointment and participation.